And take two, we are back. Hopefully now with sound. I feel like those old, now with in Technicolor, we're back. So I'm going to check that we have sound before we continue here. So hopefully somebody listening, I'm actually watching the live stream now. If you will let me know if we have sound. Yes. Okay. We have sound. Excellent. Okay. So what happened was I did a quick impromptu show on arthritis, because a lot of people kept asking me about arthritis in the chat rooms. And it's like, okay, I'll just do a show on how it forms and why it forms. And that quick show that was supposed to be just like maybe an hour turned into over 4 hours of questions and answers. And we really dug in there. And I told you all how arthritis formed and the different kinds. And we just kind of really got into all kinds of stuff. So it's a very interesting show, but some people were like, hey, where's the whole part about managing it? I was like, oh, yeah. So I never really gave you the tools, some quick recommendations. So remember, I was really going to focus on osteoarthritis. And osteoarthritis is the kind of arthritis I talked about that is wear and tear. So if you missed the show, what I mean by that is, I'm going to use the spine, but this can happen to any joint, is you can get hit and it will damage a bone or a joint where it won't move right anymore. So when a joint stops moving right, the pads in between the joints wear out. And in the spine, we're going to use the spine, these little discs, we'll pick this guy. This disc here is a real hard, fibrous pad, basically. It's like a shock-absorbing pad between the two bones. So as the bones moves, it absorbs a shock so the bones don't wreck each other, okay? So what has to happen is, in order for these discs to stay healthy, they need blood pumped in and out of them. They need nutrients because they don't really have a very good vascular system. They count on movement. So as you move your spine and flex your spine, it pumps these discs and fills them with fluid. If you knock that movement out of place where it doesn't work right anymore, and the bones just stay still, they get jammed where these two joints don't move anymore, or they subluxate, those discs start to shrink. And when they start to shrink, they start to degenerate. So degenerative disc disease, or DJD, which is also osteoarthritis. As the discs start to shrink, the bones start grinding on each other and pounding on each other and wearing out. When they do that, the bones get all deformed and they start doing, forming spurs, and they just get damaged of thousands of repetitions every time you walk, of these bones jamming on each other without a good pad. So what'll eventually happen, the body's not dumb and it says, hey, you're injuring this area over and over. What I'm going to do is we're going to create a natural cast, and we are going to fuse these all into one big bone. So it fuses those two joints into the bone, and they grow into each other. They become an arthritic, and then what'll happen is, over the years, the bones above that section and the bones below that section have to pick up the extra slack. They get injured from all the extra work, and the arthritis just moves up and down the spine until you have, 30, 40 years goes by, you got this big mass clump of arthritic bones that are all based off an original injury. So what happens with that is that all starts because there's no good movement, and then the disc starves to death and shrinks. In order to prevent that from the disc starving and shrinking, you need to put motion into it, right? And one of the best ways you can actually rehab discs, if they're not too far gone, you can bring them back to a nice thick size. They have before and after MRIs that will show people using this device that I'm going to show you, and their disc actually hydrating again and getting bigger. So you can restore disc if they're not too far gone. And even if they're all the way, practically gone, where they're fusing, it still helps to put motion in there just because it hydrates that area. So that's why they're always telling you to put, get out and exercise, move the bones that are arthritic, because you need to pump nutrients in, because your motion, that joint sucks now and it doesn't do what it's supposed to do. One of the best devices I like for the neck is this puppy here. This is called the posture pump. And the posture pump is what it does is it has this like inflatable bladder that goes on your neck, and this is a comfortable way for you to put force into the neck. And what will happen is it will, say if you have a straight neck, it will put a curve in it for a short time. It'll push a curve into the neck, and then your straight neck goes back to normal. Then it'll push a curve back to normal. And what will happen is that pumping action actually opens and closes those joints with the bad discs and creates that pump you need so your disc can get blood and nutrients in, and it'll start to rehab the disc. I usually tell people to do this as much as they can handle, like, every day if they can do it. A lot of people will work it into their morning stretch or exercise routine, and they'll throw it in there. Now, they also have one for low backs. The easiest thing for me to do is, let me just show you this on, oh boy, here we go, screen share. Let's see if we can do this correctly this time. And boom. All right. So we can do this on here. And oh, I do need to set one thing up before we start this. Sorry about this, guys. Let's turn this on here. 1 second. I got a little housekeeping to take care of. Okay. Now we're good to go. So nobody can crash the stream. All right. Let's try to screen share again. Here's my entire screen. So what's going to happen is, oh, I know what I want to show you. I'm just bouncing back and forth. My screen share is not good. There we go. All right. Hopefully we got it right now. You should be looking at the Amazon page, and you'll see they have a model. I like these neck models, and you will, let me see if I find a good picture of how it's hooked up right here. This is kind of what it looks like when it's on. You have a little pump, and the pump inflates the bladder, and you can push it. This bladder will inflate and put the curve in your neck and open and close it. So it's basically a form of cervical traction, but it's easy. You don't have to have a machine pull on your head, and it doesn't have to, you don't have to hang something on a door and pull it up. And this pumping action is really good for damaged discs. So this will keep, if you go get an x-ray and they're like, yeah, your C5 is starting to thin, you're going to have arthritis, it's starting, or you're starting to get arthritis. This will preserve what you have. It can preserve what you have, and it sometimes will even rehab and bring the disc, make it thicker. They have some pretty impressive MRIs on their page of showing before and afters of how it really does work. Now, there are some lumbar ones too. This is like a lumbar one. We'll see if I can find a picture of what it looks like on a low back. Right here. So here's a low back. The lumbar one's pretty good too. I like it. The cervical one's excellent. The lumbar one does work well too if you have an arthritic low back. And you can get an idea what it looks like on a person here. I like these a lot. Okay, so if you really have the money, though, you can go up and get the one that has both. It has the cervical and lumbar. It saves a lot of time. You can do them all in one shot. The posture pump like that, I used to have these all over my office, and they were great. It's a great way to do traction. Not that expensive. You can get this stuff at home. For $70, you can get a cervical unit, and just work it in your exercise routine. It will save your disc and even bring it back if you catch it early enough. It's pretty groovy like that. So hopefully that showed you a little bit. Is it? Oh, we're already getting questions. Is it reversible at a certain age? What do you mean? Is it? No, I can't do questions. Here we go. That's how we got into the 4-hour show last time. Arthritis, it depends on the kind of arthritis you have. Do you have rheumatoid arthritis, an autoimmune arthritis, you know what I mean? Or is it osteoarthritis? Arthritis is reversible if you catch it early enough. Your body will heal some of it. Especially, like I said, you can bring back degenerative discs if you catch them and you traction them well. You can rehydrate them. They will definitely look a lot thicker. If the bone plate itself is damaged, where you have spurs and stuff, that's controversial. Some people do say that if you repair the joint and it starts moving right, that will reduce. The body will try to fix it and start reabsorbing bone spurs. I hadn't seen that really too much, but there's an argument about that if it really does. The flip side is what I've seen in real life is that a person has horrible symptoms and pain. They start doing this stuff, they feel better. Their neck still looks pretty cruddy on an x-ray, but their quality of life goes way up, and they can function, and they could actually have some sort of normal life again. That's kind of usually what my goal is. I don't really care what it looks so much like on x-ray, as long as they can function and it's running well. It would be great if we could restore everybody back to normal, but I don't know how realistic that is. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to go over some other stuff here. Oh, by the way, if you didn't know, let me show you one other thing. If you didn't know, all right, that Kate and I have many articles that we've done together over on a website called holistichealinginformation.com. This is a breakdown of everything that we talked about, and I'll link it under in the description too. I'll also link the products so you don't have to go surf around. I'll point to exactly which ones I like that I've used in my own practice. And in these articles, they'll also link to some stuff in other articles. So this is all about joint pain, this article, and it'll explain and break it down. In case you don't want to watch the 4-hour show, this article will give you the down and dirty in just a few minutes, how to break it down and assess for osteoarthritis or an autoimmune arthritis, and what you can do about it. There's all kinds of great information in our articles. This is one I wrote. Kate mainly, you know, she's a dental hygienist, so she does all the oral articles, the oral health stuff here. So if you are looking for tips on oral health care where you don't want to use a bunch of chemicals, all her stuff's holistic, and it's also very good as far as, I'll show you a little of it. There's Kate working there. There's all kinds of different things in here. She is probably the best article on the planet I've ever seen on fluoride. If you guys are interested in fluoride, I think it sources almost 100 sources. There's all kinds of, you know, can you actually restore cavities? What do you do about dry mouth? What do you do for gum disease? What's up with mercury? That's an amazing article here. Is xylitol better than fluoride? You know, what do you do if you don't use fluoride? Well, there's xylitol, and there's in the science behind oil pulling, what really works, what doesn't. She breaks it down with a lot of different studies. So just wanted to show you that since we were here, but I'll link this whole thing over on the other page. Now, there is one other thing I talked about, and even if you have autoimmune or you don't have autoimmune, there's a good chance that you burned up most of your glutathione. The glutathione is probably the most powerful antioxidant in the body, and very few people pay any attention to it. Glutathione, I like a product called Apex. That's what I use, but only doctors can get it. Premier is sort of the same way, but some reason they are selling it on Amazon. So this is an excellent product too, but instead of using creams, they mainly use pills. So Premier is one of my favorite companies because they don't put any junk into their, they don't put any fillers. Their capsules are vegetarian, vegan. They don't have the magnesium stearate. Like every capsule on the planet has magnesium stearate, and it's not good for you. So I'm really happy with Premier. They're excellent products. I can link the glutathione. The glutathione is a good pill for just overall inflammation to take it down, and it's 20 bucks on here. It's a steal for that price because Premier makes really good really good products. And again, I also really like Apex, but you can't get that as the public. I have to order that for you. Anyway, your doctors can only get that. So these are just a few little things you can manage. We're going to get way deeper into osteoarthritis. Autoimmune arthritis in another one because it is a huge animal. This is what's crazy, is just about every disease system works the same way, where you have some sort of system that doesn't work right. It's weaker. Maybe it's a genetic thing you picked up. Maybe you injured an area. Maybe you take too many toxic chemicals, that is, you know, you got too much aluminum in the brain or something. Whatever it is, all these things start the motion, but what actually destroys your body is inflammation. And all of them work that way. That inflammation is what ultimately kills the tissue. So in my practice, like 90% of what I do is just inflammation control, because it doesn't really matter what their condition is. The inflammation's what's the destructive process. Inflammation is what gives you a heart attack, not cholesterol. Inflammation. You know, inflammation is what gives you Alzheimer's and dementia. Inflammation is the character. Now, inflammation is the process. So it's great to stop the process, but there's always a trigger that's causing it, you know, like, in my experience, a lot of it is food related. People are just eating stuff that they're sensitive to or allergic to. It can be an infection. They picked up a parasite or bacteria, you know, that's causing the inflammation. It can be something toxic they picked up. They work at they work as a dentist and they're around mercury all day long. You know, they work in a factory that's around, gosh, the poor dudes that come back from the military. I mean, don't even get me started what they picked up. So there's all kinds of different things that can be triggering the inflammation. So what the game plan is when I work on patients is we identify the trigger. We run a big blood scan and find out, okay, is this because of food? Is this because of an infection? Is this because of a toxic load? You know, what's causing this? And once you figure that out, then you try to remove the trigger, and then you, at the same time, you just blast the inflammation down and get it under control. And by doing those two things, the body can heal a lot of stuff that people say it can't heal. And it feels a lot better when you remove that interference and the triggers all day long. So autoimmune is going to be its own animal. I basically have to show you, okay, here's how you bring down inflammation in your body, and then you try to identify what are the what's causing the inflammation, what's the triggers. You know, why are your autoimmune going crazy? And most of the time it is food or an infection. You know, they picked up something like that. They got a H. pylori in their gut, or a parasite or something in their gut tearing it up. And so there's different blood panels that are better than others that also show that. A lot of stuff that is typically ordered just because the doctor, only insurance will pay for this little smidgen of blood. You know, you need a good like 80 to 90 markers sometimes to really get a good idea what's going on in the body, because one thing will show up that's caused by another thing that's caused by another thing, you know, and you got to figure out, well, what's the original problem? All these other things are side effects of the original problem. And if it's like solving a puzzle where I've got, you know, 100 pieces in this puzzle, and you're only going to give me 20 of them. So like, how much of the puzzle can you figure out with 20 pieces? You need them all. But unfortunately, insurance doesn't ever pay for that stuff, so the doctors never order it. And then you're like, well, you know, it's a sad statement that insurance companies now dictate to doctors what the standard of health is, instead of doctors telling insurance companies to go screw themselves, and this is what I'm going to order for my patient because it's necessary. And I'm on the other side. I don't care what an insurance company says. I don't take insurance. I'm not going to. And that's because they put handcuffs on you, what you can do. They really don't let you order what you need to order without a lot of headaches. So anyway, yeah, don't get me started on our health system here. And I'm sure in your country it's crappy too. So there you go. I just want to make this really quick. This isn't going to be a full long live stream. So that's what's up. If you really want to dive into arthritis and know everything about it, go check out that other show I did. And that was really only about osteoarthritis. We're going to have to do a whole other thing on autoimmune diseases and autoimmune arthritis, because that is another 4-hour discussion, I'm sure. So right on. There you go, Heather. Thank you. Right on. Solid. There's a lot of comments coming in about they're unhappy with the healthcare system. So there you go. All right. It really depends. Like someone's here saying, well, he takes diatomaceous earth for his stiffness in his fingers. You know, maybe your diatomaceous earth's good at wiping out parasites and stuff like that. So maybe your inflammation is caused by something parasitic. that is spreading systemically. You know, that this is what's hard, because you might do well on diatomaceous earth, but it might really screw someone else up. You could kill a bunch of stuff and give them a toxic overload. So you have to really be careful, because everybody does this. Oh, I took vitamin C and now I feel better, but you give it to someone else and it's not as good for them. Or vitamin A, or, you know, I did what is it, turmeric now? I can't remember what it's called now, but it used to be turmeric. You know, that's a loaded gun too, because it's wonderful at bringing down inflammation, but if you use it too much, it's too powerful, and it'll suppress your immune system. So like if you stay on it every single day, you take high doses of it, yeah, it'll take the swelling out of your joints, but then it'll weaken your immune system. So you have to cycle these things. You can't just, I wish people wouldn't just take stuff blindly that, you know, I read this article and it says that this helps and I took it for a while and it helps. It might help for you, but it might not help for someone else. You might be screwing them up telling them that. So just be careful. Like, we got to get better at catering it and specializing it per person instead of like a general thing. So anyway, are any other questions before I jump out of here? Because this is going to be very short. Okay. Love you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I gave you 3 or 4 products. They'll be in the description. And, oh, wait, I have an FB chat. Someone in Facebook chat wants to know if sugar causes inflammation. I'm not even on Facebook. Huh? All right. Well, anyway, of course sugar causes inflammation. Yes. Sugar's really not good for you on a lot of levels. Now you can have small amounts if you're a healthy person, sure. But almost everybody that walks into my office is not healthy. And that is not a good thing for them. Sugar can definitely cause inflammation. It also feeds yeast like mad, which also cause inflammation, tear up your gut and give you leaky gut. Sugar can also trigger ridiculous amounts of hormone problems in your body. Ask a diabetic how many problems they have. Poor diabetics have like 100 problems. Everything's wrong with diabetics. They get everything. And it's all based on their sugar control. You know, dysglycemia is a really nasty thing that we underestimate in society, where it can really tear up your questions. Sorry, tear up. I'm reading this. Tear up your intestines, not questions. Tear up your. I'm all tongue-tied this morning. See, this is what happens when I get up right out of the shower. I got up out of the shower, so that's why my hair looks like this. I was like thinking that, sitting in the shower, and I was like, oh yeah, I never really showed the people the products. We got into a 4-hour, you know, question answer session, and I forgot to mention the posture pump. I mean, it's like my favorite. This thing is, I can't believe what a difference this makes, and especially if you have the kind of osteoarthritis from like a whiplash injury, where you lay down and your hand goes numb, or you have tingling that goes into your shoulder or your back, or you always have tight muscles right here and here in your shoulder and nothing's fixing it. The posture pump, man, it rocks, and it is natural. It is not that expensive. It is easy to work out in the routine. You do maybe 10 to 15 cycles. So you pump it up, hold it for about 5 seconds, let it out. Pump it up, hold it for 5 seconds. You do like reps. You do 10 to 15 reps on that area, and that's usually enough for the day just to push some motion into it, get some blood going in and out of it. So it's really easy. It takes just a few minutes. I love it. All right. Any other questions? Because I want to go eat my breakfast. And everybody's complaining about Facebook. Yes, I am not a fan of Facebook either. By the way, if you didn't know, Facebook and YouTube hate each other. And whenever you post a YouTube post on Facebook, Facebook won't even show it to people unless you pay. And even then, it really doesn't want to show it. They want you to use their own video, Facebook video. So if you go over and you're like, hey, I just saw this thing Dr. Lupo did, and you post it, no one will see it because it's on YouTube. So get off Facebook. Facebook's terrible. I'm going to say it like it's just so terrible. All right. I think that's it. You caught me in the morning. I'm going to go work on my garden. Look how pretty it looks out there. There's some birds. Hold on. There's my feeders. But see those stones? I put all those in there. Can you see that from there? Can you go? Me and Kate been working on the garden. So we're trying to do a flower bed. It'll be fun. go out and work on that today, and then I'll go complain about my own arthritis. It'll be good. So there you go. I don't know if you can see through that. Anyway, there's my jade plants too. Are you guys green thumbs? You know, I'm sure everybody here gardens probably. So there you go. Thanks for joining me. And I am hoping, I'm really hoping that Dana joins me Tuesday night. We're trying to work out the details. She was going to do some readings, and where is it? Where is it? Where is it? It is not here. It is here. Is it not here? I don't know. I don't know. But I found the box she was talking about in one of her very first shows. She told me to go look for this box, and I found it. I have not opened it yet, so we'll open it on air. We'll talk about that Tuesday. Oh, she says she's in the chat. She'll be there. Thank you. Thank you for being there. I will find that for you. So that should be a fun show. Keep an eye out for tomorrow night. And if you guys like these health shows, I'll keep doing them. I think they're kind of fun. Although I'm not sure how many people are into this or not, because, you know, they'll complain. They're like, you're not talking about Mandela stuff. And it's like, you know, man, I do more than just a Mandela. I'm a variety channel. So I do all kinds of things. All right. That's it. Dana is looking for people on Discord to do readings with. So if you want to talk to her, just go volunteer in Discord, and we'll do that. Also, this party doesn't have to end. Just cruise on over to Discord and say hi. And if you're going to go shopping this week, please use my Amazon link. I need to mention it every show. I forgot to mention it the last arthritis show. The Amazon thing's really helping. It has gotten so ridiculous on YouTube that I was talking to Jacob Israel, and he was telling me he now makes 1/10 of what he did, 1/10, because of the YouTube boycott. I was making 50%. It's now gone down to about 35% of what I used to make. So it is killing us, this YouTube boycott. So the Amazon really helps bridge the gap. I really appreciate if you are going, you're going to shop on Amazon anyway. Maybe you'll even go buy a posture pump or one of these products. You can follow the links in below. That'll link you right through my link. But if you're going to go later and buy stuff, anything, you know, it's gardening season, before you go on Amazon and shop around, you've got to go in through my link, and then you can shop around and everything will count. But if you go and open Amazon first and then go to my link and come back, it doesn't count. So you got to go in through me first. So I'd appreciate that. The link is in the description below to the posture pumps. That'll take you right there. Even if you don't buy a posture pump and you just start searching around, I still get a little cut of whatever you buy, as long as you came in through my portal. So like when you click in through Amazon, it'll come to one of the books I wrote. You don't have to buy that book. That just brings you in so you can surf around, and whatever you buy in that session, I get a little cut of. It lasts for about 24 hours. So use it right before you buy is the best way. If like you put a bunch of stuff in your cart and then you buy it a week later, it doesn't count. So you got to use it right before you buy. All right. Oh, wow. Lots of love here. Thank you for this. And I will see you guys in Discord. And hopefully you learned a little about managing. I'm sorry I never got to that in the 4-hour talk. Because apparently these things are never fast. Once we get started, everybody has questions. Love you guys. Bye. Be nice to each other. Support each other. Be nice to your cat. Love each other. I think I got that all mixed up. Whatever. Peace, love, and kitties.